Kind of the same thing. Cool because there's a lot of really good players, but also those awards are weighted to teams that do well. So honestly, if it weren't for, the wins we were stacking and the team wins that we've had, like Maddie and I aren't getting that award because it's very dependent on the successful team. So I think it's kind of more of a team award. Like it really is.
What is it about? Oh, sorry. What is it about big games that just gets you up to Horizon League Championship playoffs last year? I think you had like 32 or something.
Mm-hmm.
You had 27 the other day. I mean, what is it about big games that you get up for?
I'm just a competitor. I'm going to be honest, on Saturday, I had the mindset going in of we are not losing on a senior night with a crowd like this. We owe it more to our fans and we owe it to ourselves to win this game. So I think there's just the competitiveness in me and a lot of my teammates that make us all like, okay, it's go time. We got to play better down the stretch especially.
What's it going to take? I mean, you guys were in this spot last year and
Mm-hmm.
you end up winning it and punching your ticket to the NCAA tournament. What's it going to take in March to make sure that you guys come out on top with, the goals that you had?
Yeah, we need to lean back on the confidence that we have and like how much we've practiced, how much we've all been in and getting shots up. And, it's a long season and all of the work we've done leading up to March, it matters. And although, it's technically game by game, you have to take the whole season to get better and to put yourself in a position where you're confident in your ability. And I think to that point, just playing Green Bay basketball and all the times we've repped out, what we do and just falling back on that and being confident in who we are as players and, what we run and our defense and what we're about.
How tough was Saturday just as like a player, the emotional like roller coaster? Obviously the game stuff, you have the game and then afterwards you have everything like the ups and downs of this Saturday and how that may have affected you guys in playing a little bit, but I mean that's got to be tough just mentally to lock in just like that.
It definitely was a lot. I don't think that, but that's why it's fun. I think like Saturday was so much fun and it was so exciting and it was probably one of the most intense games I've ever been a part of in my entire career, which is really cool that it just so happened to fall on, senior night and also to get the seeding. And so there's a lot of emotions tied into it, but at the end of the day, we've all been playing basketball for how many years. So just being like comfortable in our ability and just trying to stay grounded in who we are and what the program is.
Last year, I think head coach Kevin Borseth said, like, you're one of the best mid-range shooters in the country or that he's ever seen. I can't remember the exact quote. What is it about your offensive game how you thrive so much in the mid-range game?
I don't know. It's just what I like to do, I guess. It's no different than asking, like, a three-point shooter what they like about shooting threes. I don't know. I guess it's my preferred shot. I also think just in our offense and in the other players we have a bunch of really good three-point shooters. We have post presence, so defenses have to respect both of those. So then it kind of leaves that open and works for me, I guess. I don't know.
3 years ago, you transferred in from St. Louis. What has it meant? Why did you transfer? Why did you come here? And what has it meant now these last 3 years, looking back on your GB career?
Green Bay, I've always known about Green Bay because I'm from like Milwaukee area. So Green Bay has just been a powerhouse in the state, and Coach Borseth was always like the most steady coach that everyone knows about. So I was recruited by them heavily in high school, and for whatever reason, I just didn't make the initial choice. So then when I decided to transfer, I knew I wanted to come closer to home, and Coach Borseth at the time was really adamant about getting me back home, and I think being here has just been really exciting because my family is able to come to so many games. I'm able to share this experience with my parents and my grandparents and my sisters, which means a lot to me. And then also meeting just some of the best people I've ever met in my teammates, and then this new staff and the old staff and just everyone that walks through Green Bay. They're great people, and I've been really blessed to meet some really great people in this process too.
How would you describe your leadership skills? Coach Karius was talking about that last week.
That's a good question. I think I'd say I just try to lead by example in being, I'm never going to give up on a possession, and being the player that you can count on and rely on to always be giving 100%. I think that goes a long way. I know when I was younger, when I was a freshman, I always looked up to those players because I just thought it was so cool that even when you have nothing left in your tank, you'd have people that are still giving it their all. So I always wanted to be that. I try to be that. And also just being positive and keeping it light, being a good teammate to everyone.
What do you know about Oakland and kind of what they do and, maybe some challenges that they pose?
Yeah, well, I mean, they came in last night to IUPUI and they played really well, or IU I should say, and played really well, and technically that's an upset, but honestly, Oakland's a good team and they have really good players. They have, one of an all-conference player that's really good, and I think she's second leading in the conference, so you have to respect that, and they've got a lot of threats on the floor, so, just sticking to our game plan and just being confident in our preparation, just going into it.
Did you and the girls end up, staying together and watching the game as a whole? Or?
I think we were all kind of watching. There was a lot of games on last night between, just trying to see who we would play. We were texting in the group chat a little bit of oh, okay, this game happened this way, just keeping up. But yeah, we were in the loop.
In case we don't talk to you, what did you guys learn about the neutral site aspect last year that you can take into this year? How different is it when you play those places?
Yeah, I think one of the big things about it's a neutral site, but technically some might say it's like an away game. For everyone. And I think just going in and not letting the outside noise affect our play, and just, it might not be. I guess it would be a familiar place for us. It's the conference tournament's been there for how many years now? A few. So it's an honor to go and to be able to be one of the teams that compete there, and hopefully we can make it there and just, play Green Bay basketball and stay focused on one game at a time.
I know you don't want to think about it, and this is going to be a special ride here till the end of the season.
Yeah.
But what's next for you? Is overseas play, or what's next?
I'm not sure. That's like the $1 million question that everyone asks you. I'm not sure. Right now I really am, like you said, just trying to stay focused on the game ahead of me, and just really make the most of whatever I have left in my career, because basketball means a lot to me.
I know basketball, when you're in the season, you kind of just go through the motions, but when you get to a time like this, you sink it all in and make sure that these relationships and these bonds, you don't take these moments for granted, because just like that, it could, be gone.
Yeah, I think Saturday was a big part of that, of just celebrating all of us at once, and senior night was really cool, and taking the time to spend time with each other and appreciate that moment in such a big game as well. But yeah, I think just making the most of it. Season does get long, and I think in the position we're in, you kind of gotta have a little perspective about it of, yeah, but you're not going to be doing this again. So it might feel long, but you just got to find the ways to appreciate the most, and I think we've done a pretty good job of that.
Do you have a favorite memory of your career now?
Going to the NCAA tournament last year, I feel like that's a gimme answer. I will say Saturday was pretty cool, though, too. That's maybe number 2.
Well, now that you have a little bit of time to step away from it, you just realize again how special the day was. And it's always an amazing thing to win a regular season conference championship, to be able to do it on your home floor and have it line up the way that it did with the matchup and do it in front of 3,500 plus people was really amazing. So I was really happy for our seniors and happy for the way that the team down the stretch really just dug in and found a way to get it done, despite honestly not shooting our best and probably not putting our best foot forward in a lot of different areas. I think in the effort category, we maxed out, and I think that made a big difference. So I'm just really proud of them looking back. I think it was a very special day.
Does that kind of bode, I don't know if this is the right term, bode well for you guys, that you guys didn't shoot your best, but you still came away with an overtime win in the fashion that you did?
Yeah, I think you look back at, especially at the numbers, and you're thinking when you watch the film, there's plenty of open shots that we wish we would have connected on, and several layups that we missed that we really should be connecting on a little bit more. That would totally change how the game was going to be played out in the end. So I think our players know that. We talk about it. We don't certainly dwell on how many missed shots we had, but I do think that we made the plays necessary down the stretch.
That being said, such high of highs on Saturday, does that make it a little tougher now when you're playing, trying to have that one game at a time mentality? Oakland team, on paper you guys should, you have handled. Does that make it a little tougher, going from up here to, now, kind of a little bit of a roller coaster.
It's all in how you look at it. So we choose to look at it as, wow, that was fun, and there was a lot of momentum going right into the conference tournament. So we're excited to be back on our home floor, and whether or not the crowd looks like it does, I think we're still going to have great support because we always do. And now you know that it's a new season, and everybody starts with 0-0 records, and everybody's playing really hard, including Oakland, who got the win last night and on the road, which wasn't an easy atmosphere. So I think we choose to look at it as that was really fun. Let's keep it rolling. We want more of those moments now.
When you're on a run where you're winning 19 straight for a conference title, do they kind of feel, I mean, Natalie said you didn't talk about the standings and those kind of things, but did it feel like kind of a tournament atmosphere where you got to have to go out and win every single night? There's no nights off. Is that kind of how it feels for them?
It feels like that all season long, truthfully. When you have a target as big as we do on our backs, you can't take a night off or expect to shoot poorly and to then not come out and guard and expect to just coast through this conference. This is not an easy thing, and I know that we have experienced players, and maybe on paper it looks really easy, but it's just not easy. So I think your mentality remains the same. I think when you have veteran players, you don't need to talk about it because they certainly know what's at stake, and they know what happened last year. They were a part of that, and they got a taste of it, and they want more of it.
How did you handle this week? Like yesterday, they play. You don't really know who you play until the game's done. Were you and the coaching staff together watching the game, texting throughout, and how quick of a turnaround is that from, okay, now you know at like 9 o'clock at night when you're playing and you got a day and a half really to prepare?
Yeah, it's quick for everybody. It's quick for them too, right? So I think that how we approached the week was that we we always take Sunday off, and then on Monday we regrouped. I like to get together and we watch film and we talk about what the weekend meant, and then we also, that's a really good chance to really close the chapter and look ahead to this new season that we're in. So yesterday at practice was really just so much more of us focused. So it's things that we had to clean up from over the weekend, and when you don't know your opponent, you just really focus on the offensive end and got a lot of shooting in, and just got up and down knowing our opponent played yesterday, so we had to move too. And now today we got more specific with who our opponent is.
What do you see from Oakland when you watch them on Saturday?
Well, we've always felt like during the season, I mean, they started the year 4-0, right? They were number one in the league for quite a while, and I think that they're really talented. I think that their guard play is really special with Skorupski, and I think that they're such good shooters, especially off of ball screens, that they provide a lot of problems for people. And what I saw last night is I think that they're playing harder. I think that they, between the different defenses that they throw at you, man and zone, and sometimes it's a combination of both, it can be confusing for teams, and the bottom line is you just have to stay in attack mode because I think that they're turning people over, and they've got two players who are really at the top of the league in steals per game. So they try to create some offense that way, but I think their guard play is really special. And as I told our team, you just have to throw those scores out the window of whatever happened earlier in the year. And it's very easy to look at that and just think you're going to coast on through it, but it's just not the case. It's tournament season, and everybody is fighting for one more day together. They want to get to practice again on Friday. That's their goal too. And so you have to throw that out. I think we have mature players that we know that, but you still have to impress on your team. This is a big game, and every game from here on forward is big.
You talked about the seniors. How do you get them to maybe, I mean, they've been in this situation so many times. How do you get them maybe not to play tight like this is their last stretch run? It's lose, your career's done.
I don't get the sense that they are tight. I just get the sense that they are thinking they've got to max out with their effort. And because their window of games remaining is shrinking every single day and practices remaining is shrinking, I think that there's so much more urgency with seniors than any other kid on your team. And so I just don't get the feeling that we are tight. But I also think your atmosphere at practice can help with that. I think that we cover things, but we don't dwell on things long. We're not like really grinding them on certain drills and those kinds of things. You're trying to keep them fresh physically and fresh mentally, and the shooting piece of it, you want them to be feeling good. That's when you're making shots. So you're certainly getting a lot of shooting reps in, and then you're not dwelling on it. You're just pumping them with confidence and knowing that you want to send them out feeling their best.
What have you seen from McNeal since you got here? I mean, I think Coach Borseth said she was one of the best mid-range shooters in the game last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think she's so special because she's so different. And I've said that before, but I think you could see that again on Saturday. She just has so many skills about her game and such good athleticism that she's such a matchup problem for a lot of people. So that tied in with how aggressively she was defending one of their best players on Saturday and chasing her all over. She really maxed out for 40 minutes on both ends of the floor, actually 41 because she played 41. And I think she is such a special player, and I think she has so many skills in her tool bag that it's going to be really exciting to see how she finishes out. But I think she's doing what you want a senior to do at the end of her career, and that's get to her peak. And I think she's doing that right now.
What's it mean to have a player like that? She said, we couldn't lose that game. We were going to do everything in our
Yeah.
power to not lose that. What's it like to have a leader kind of just do what she needs to do?
Nat's not the only one who feels this way, but I think she is one of the top ones who you can say everything you want about her skill set and her athleticism and everything that she can physically do out on the floor. The thing that separates her is she refuses to lose, and her competitive edge is unlike I've seen it in a very long time. It reminds me of some old teammates or maybe one or two players I've coached along the way, but it is a very special thing to see how hard she competes in a very simple drill at practice because she just does not want to lose. And that carried right over on Saturday in one of the biggest games of her career so far.
I mean, how impressive was it for her to miss what would have been, the go-ahead bucket at the end, and then kind of flip the switch in overtime and kind of like the highs and lows of kind of that flow of the game at that point.
Yeah, we talk a lot about neutral thinking in our program, so it's just a quick reminder, and I think that was demonstrated by her right there. It's very easy to get caught up in highs and lows, and actually during the game I felt like our body language wasn't where it needed to be. I felt like we were sensing this is going to be really tough, and we addressed that right away on the bench, and I think after that sort of flipped. It just was going to take one or two plays to go our way for us to be feeling really good again, and sometimes in that moment, I think you just great players at the end of games. Nobody else we wanted it in the hands of besides Nat at that moment with the game that she had been playing. So we trusted her, and I think that she appreciated that. And as soon as she missed it, you could tell, again, she's so competitive that I think that instead of being so down on herself and beating herself up, it was like, well, that was a bad shot. Let's get right back at it, and knowing we had the full overtime to go ahead and keep making runs.
I know Bailey went down, but she came, back in the game.
Yeah.
And it probably looked a lot worse. Is there any concern,
No.
Okay.
Is there anything from your playing experience, especially come tournament time, that you share with your players to help them along the way, especially with tournaments?
Yeah, actually, no. If they need it, but I think there's a respect level there, I think, because I was a player here, but I certainly don't think that they need my stories. And I think it's just not about me. So I think I know how they feel, and I resonate with that feeling and the mindset of where they're at right now. And so I just try to dip into that to be able to impress different things on them. But I just really tried to stay away this year a lot on, when I played here, because I just feel like they know already. I mean, their experience, this isn't like a group that needs you to tell them that every game is big and you guys got to be ready to go. I mean, I can give them reminders here and there, but I just have kept my stories out of it because I just don't think it's about me. I just want it to be about them, and I'm just so proud of the way that they've handled this whole year. And again, it's not easy doing what they have done night in and night out, and I just appreciate them so much. I want the spotlight to just stay totally on them.
I know these awards sometimes mean as much as the paper that they're written on. They don't mean a ton, but do you think it was all the way it shook out, your first teamers, or was it was it how you thought it would go down?
Not really, but I don't really want to comment on it. We talked about it as a team, and then we'd certainly acknowledge the people who got awards because I think that they're deserving. I think more people are deserving, but I think that's the way that it's kind of gone for our program for a long time, and I know that, and our players know that. It's at the end of the day, what we said is that net is hanging in our locker room, and so that's the one that you want to go after. And so the fact that everybody contributed to the best team award that we could come away with, then that's the goal, and that's what we're happy with.